Hey everybody, Ace here, back in Tripura for day 6. We're going to resume. Yesterday we got the stone cutter and the wood cutter up and running, and we started to flatten this area out in here. So today we're going to continue to do that, flatten it all the way out to that edge, and then we've got our workshop that we're going to put in. And I've got some tips about putting the workshop in, so stick around while we flatten things out a bit. It's a beautiful morning here on Tripura Island. We can go ahead and just cancel the rest of that build since we already see that the remaining parts are at the height we want. Alright, that's good enough. Can't touch that tree right now, but I can certainly work around it. I'm not comfortable with that. There we go. We're going to want to put a torch up next to the woodcutter's hut too, because they're going to want to come and steal those resources, those little smokers. We've got 2 villagers who don't have any other job, so they default to builders. So we've got 2 builders that are going to be working today, which means that they'll get that barbecue up and running pretty fast. Four sticks. Let's see if our guy has any sticks over here yet. Doesn't look like he does, so... One, two, three. Seems like there will be another stick here pretty close. Throw ourselves right over the top of this thing. We'll ignore the red ones. That barbecue is done behind us. While they're doing that, we'll run over here and light that fire up. And then you have to click on the barbecue itself, right there, like it's highlighted. When we do that, we can right-click 5 meat onto the spit. You can assign a person to be the barbecuer, and they will just sit here and put food on. But definitely make sure you've got some food for them to do first, because otherwise they're just going to spend most of their time sitting, waiting for food to come. When the food is done cooking, you're going to see this orange bar go away, but then it starts coming up again. If it reaches its end again, then that food burns and turns into charcoal, so make sure not to let that happen. Depending on your skill and so on, that's about 30 seconds, so if you want to walk away, set yourself a little timer or something, because otherwise you might come back to charcoal. And later in the game, when you got a lot of meat, maybe that doesn't matter so much, but in the beginning, that can be a little painful. I'm going to break up this stump. And put a leveling right there. See a little bump right here. So you can just hit L for the last thing you built. Makes it really easy. Drop another one like that. So that just levels that out a little more. Come back here to the grill and pick that meat up off of it. We can see that it's already about a third of the way to burning. And right back here is your food plate. You can drop that meat on the plate and they will all eat from that when they get hungry. I'm going to eat 1, 2 right now. I'm going to chop this tree up. That was a neat trick. Alright, there we go. And now move this out of the way. Feels like when it rains it should reset everybody's thirst meter, but no such luck. And I'm going to just run over here to the lumber camp real quick. I'm going to use R. And I'm just going to click on each of these sections in turn to deposit stuff that I have. What we don't have a space for yet is firewood. So I'll just drop that here. And the bark bin is already full, so we didn't have any room for that either. Okay, there we go. So let's expand this just a tiny little bit more over here. Right there. Ooh, watch out for that water. So let's go ahead and throw a well right on that so that we don't lose it. Stone guy is telling me either that he can't find any more stone to break, which is probable, or that the bins are all full. Or they need his pickaxe. Fair enough. I need a stick and a blade and a rope. So let's see if he's collected any stone over here. Nothing to take, so he has collected no stone. I do have a pickaxe, so we'll run over here. I think there's a stone not too far away right here. Go ahead and break this up. That's going to give me what I need to make a stone blade. Oh, I had the stone in my inventory already anyways. Zoink. Alright. And for a pickaxe, we need a rope. That well is done. Good. Go over here. I was going to say, what happened to all of that bark? So we can go ahead, and again, you can just shift click this bark in this inventory right here. I should have taken one less than I did. Now I have enough to make a 5-pack of rope. Which means I now have enough to make a pickaxe. Which means I now have enough to talk to this slacker and say, dude, what are you talking about? You have a pickaxe, man. Whatever. And say, oh, alright, I gotta get to work. Alright, we've got a nice space over here, and we should look at putting a workshop right here. I want to make sure that we have a straight spot, so I'm going to carry this edge out just a little bit more. It's interesting, it won't let us work this piece, but it will let us work that next one. So I'm going to do that, and that's going to bring us right up to the height we want. And then I'm going to do these two, and then I'm going to repeat that whole thing again. Actually, I'm just going to use L. Like so. Losing my height, so I'm going to come back here so I get it back again. Okay, now there's the height we want. Boom, there we are. We'll run over this whole thing like that. Three spaces out. And that is how you do some crazy terraforming in the game. Building areas up that you just thought were going to be way too much. And now I can come back here. I'm still getting used to using the L. Now I can come back here, and there's our height. Fall into one of those pits because you can't get out. One green there to the right, so then it's going to save us. So that's going to bring this whole spot up here. I'll just delete that at this point. And then one more time through. Time through. Get that last this red spot. I don't like doing it from this side, but I will. Because I feel like I can't get a perfect north, south, east, west line doing it this way. Drink at our new well. Look at that. We can tell that the line was just a tiny bit off from the game's true north-south because it didn't give us that edge exactly how we wanted. So, if you're a perfectionist, it's possible that I may be one of those on some degree. You might come back here and say, well, I really want that. So, will you give it to me? And that might do it. I think we got lucky on that one. We went a little over it. All right. You chase that forever. We're going to call it good enough. All right, here's a spot for our workshop. So now, of course, we can't see anything, but now we're going to put a workshop here. Now we're going to talk about workshop placement a little bit. This is important. The way that it shows you this workshop pit is like this. You want the arrow facing towards you. But now the question is, what's with all the boxes on the outside? And the answer is, some of the workshop expansions are going to be the shorter box. Some are going to be the longer box. It's not actually going to be 4 extensions. It's only going to be 2, one on either side. You're going to have 2 workshops. You're going to have one that does clothing and leather, and you're going to have one that does metalworking and carpentry eventually. But for now, when you want to put this down, make sure that you have all your space, unless you know you're going to put a short one on that short side. The weaver is a short addition. The leather worker is a long addition. Which brings us to the second point, which is the leather worker is only going to be able to face one direction. So you can walk into the weaver from either side and it looks more or less the same. The leather worker needs to be on the left-hand side as we're looking at it right now, otherwise it's going to be facing the back. So this wouldn't be okay. This would be okay if we really wanted to, because we knew we're going to put the weaver on the right. Neither of them are ideal. You really should try and make it so that it's all green. I'm going to cheat it just a little bit towards the right because I'm just going to move that water trough if I need to. Now we're going to turn this a little bit to line up with our rear wall. And I'm going to turn around just to see if I'm more or less in line with my road, my gate inside. So we walk straight up here to this, which I am. And so, there we go. I'll walk to the back to make sure it's lined up, which it looks like it is. And actually, you know what? I need to pull it off that wall a little bit. I fell for this trap the last time I put one in too. Which is that it looks like it's well off that back wall, but it kind of isn't, so you need to just pull it back a little further than you think you should otherwise. There we go. So that's a little further forward than I was before. That's going to make sure I have some room behind there for a gate, or rather a fence. And unfortunately, even though all of this is already at the grade it's supposed to be, we can't abort that because we abort the entire building if we do. So in this case, we actually have to hoe out all of these spaces. I'm going to hit Q to pin this. We've got 4 rope we can apply to it right now. And apparently we had a stick, so 6 long sticks. We've got a few of those lying around here. Whoops. Wrong button. Alright, 1 and 3 regular sticks left, so I'm going to come down here and can't really check the lumberyard inventory from here. I'm going to hope he's got at least 1 stick stored up by now. I'll just grab these 2 and this long one. In. Does he have a stick here? He does. So we'll just click E at one time, hit E one time to take 1 stick, apply it, and then go ahead and do our work. Hit it with our rolling pin, hammer. Cooking up a workshop, and there it is. Got our mini chief for that. So now we can click on this, and I can look around for the guy that had the rope, who's now a builder, Greta. And I can say, hey, Greta, you know what? You need to work at the workshop now. And now, in the next episode, since this is now the end of this one, I'll show you how to set up jobs in the workshop, how to make sure that you always have a knife waiting for you, or a hoe, or a pick, and how to set those priorities for those. Thanks. This is Ace. I'll see you the next time. Signing off.